It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You want me to play, huh? Is that what you want? I want you to be a hockey player! I am a hockey player!
The Worldwide Sports Radio Network presents Off the Post.
We suck. I'm not going to break it down for you. We suck.
With your host, Ashley Sarge.
That's true. We are going to break it down, I hope. I know we had a lot of stuff going on today. Welcome to Off the Beat. And I'm Ashley Sarge on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Glad to have you with us. Speedy Petey around to do the controls and to handle the situation here. Good to have you a little late today, but better late than never, they say, right, Speedy?
Yep, a lot of complications today. My bad.
That's all right. You're a good producer. You'll figure it out. On the guest list today, and we want to get to him as quickly as possible, is Doug Soedaert. He was a 12-year NHL professional hockey player. He played with the Rangers, Winnipeg Jets, Montreal Canadiens, name a few teams. He also was a hockey executive with the Kansas City Blades, the Everett Silvertips, the Omaha Knights. He's also general manager of the Tucson Roadrunners. He's currently the executive president and executive director of the Kansas City Youth Hockey Association. Of course, in 1990, he won the Turner Cup and the executive year as a member of the Kansas City Blades. Okay, we'll just wait for him to get in here in a minute. I want to send my condolences out to the Ken Schinkel family. Ken Schinkel played in the NHL with the original Pittsburgh Penguins and a member of the New York Rangers, passed away yesterday. So a bit of a sad news on the NHL front. And we're just waiting on Dougie Soedaert to make his appearance with us. Also on the agenda today, we're going to have Mark Spector, Sportsnet. He's got a new book out about junior hockey. It's called The Untold Story. It's called The Road to Gold, The World Juniors, The Untold Story of the Canadian Junior Hockey's at the World Championship. Nobody should do an American book, too, on that version.
All right, looks like we got him.
There he is, live and in person.
Welcome,
Doug.
Hello.
Welcome.
Well, welcome. Yeah, good to be
Welcome.
here. Yeah. How you
I
doing?
see you're doing a lot of these Zoomcasts lately.
Well, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. A few of them with the, with everything going on. We're always Zooming and keeping in touch with everything that's going on. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Doing this show every week. We usually start at 4:30 Eastern. 4:30. So, but we've had some the internet is so overwhelmed these days that that things happen. Anyways, you spent 12 seasons in the NHL, as I mentioned. You played with the Rangers. You were a second-round pick of the Rangers. You played with the Rangers, Winnipeg, Montreal. And then you, after all those, and you were a member of the 86 Stanley Cup team. You were a backup to a guy named Patrick Waugh. What was that like?
Well, it was a great year, obviously. My whole career I was very happy for, but to eventually win a Stanley Cup, be part of it, it was an exciting year. Actually, that year was probably the best year I had a great year going. It took me 10 games before I got into the season because of the battle that Patrick and Steve Penny had going on, who was going to play. And after 10 games, I think our record was 2-8 at that time. And we were in Hartford, and at the end of the first period, it was 6-0 Hartford. And I knew, I'm going to get my duty. So I got in there, and I had a good year, and then actually was getting ready for the playoffs when I got hurt. And then obviously when we went into the playoffs, not expecting to even come close to winning the Stanley Cup, but at that time, Patrick got hot and the team got hot. I think the first game that we played in Boston, we got outshot like about 16-3 that first period in Boston, and he stood in his head, and then everybody thought, hey man, we got a chance to win this. So we went on to win it. It was good. He was a good guy, and we had a great team that year, and thankful that I had the opportunity to win a Stanley Cup.
Did you see it in him? I mean, during practice, and that he was going to be a Hall of Fame type of goalie.
Well, you knew he was good. It was his first year. He was still talking to the goalposts at that time. You remember? He would turn around and talk to his goalpost. So he had a few little quirky things, but it was good. It was all positive, and he went on to have a great career and a Hall of Famer. So I was happy to be able to play with him.
You are now president and executive director of the Kansas City Youth Hockey Association. How different are the kids now than they were when you were growing up, or B, going through hockey as a player?
Well, I think it's easy to say things are different. I think it's just society's changed a lot, and sports has changed. The game has changed from when we played. I know I was on a podcast with Tommy Laidlaw and Greshner here about a week ago, and I looked back and did a little bit of homework when we were playing junior hockey out west. I played for the Edmonton Oil Kings at that time. And it's amazing the players that came out of the province of Alberta and BC, Saskatchewan, and how really tough the game was back then. Yeah, I think you remember how physical the NHL was back in the 70s and 80s. You go back and watch some of those brawls and that, and you wonder how guys actually survived. It was a hard league, and it's the game has changed. It's evolved, and it's a better game in the sense that there's more skill and finesse. But I wouldn't change it for the world. It was a great years that I had. But all in all, I just think society's changed, the game has changed, and everything keeps improving.
You think back then when you played that players had to earn more, they keep more goals than they do today? Today it seems like I think, and I've made this opinion made so many times, that Gary Bettman has turned the NHL, and it's, of course, what the NHL does, all the other leagues do, going all the way down to the kids, that they've made it more of NBAism or more of European, less hitting. He wants to take hitting out of the game, more of if you just touch the guy like you do in basketball, it's sort of a foul. You think that's something that has to do with it?
Well, I think the skill level, everything, like I said, everything's evolved. I think the game has changed to the point where it's all about skating and skill and goals and offense, less about the physicalness, the intimidation. There's really no intimidation anymore, and that's what it was back when we played. It was a hard. You had to be a hard person. You had to. It didn't matter if you were a great skater, but if you were a hard fourth liner and you were willing to mix it up, you played in the NHL. And you don't see many players like that anymore. So everything's evolved, like I said. And I think, the game is exciting when you see guys flying around the ice like McDavid and Draisaitl and the rest of the top end players. It's an exciting game when it comes to the playoffs. There's some pretty stinky games during the season. But come playoff time, the players show up, and pretty exciting.
Do you think it's more knock it in and knock it out now than it was in your day? Feels like there's no red line anymore. You think they should put the red line back?
I think the game is fine where it is right now. It's open the game up, and that's what they want. It's the entertainment value. You're in the entertainment business, and they've come up with some good rules, and obviously it's about opening it up and freewheeling and skating and offense and making end-to-end rushes. And it's like I said, the game has evolved, and it is what it is, and you play within those rules. And if you can't play within those rules, then you're not playing. So that's just the way the game is right now. I don't mind the game. I think there could be more physical. A more physical aspect of it. But the other thing is too that nowadays there's so many concussions and injuries in the game. I guess we played through them. Not saying it's a good thing that they did, but that's the way the game was back there. You had to suck it up and get through them. Nowadays, they got spotters, sitting guys that get hit, and maybe we should have had more of that back when we played. There'd be less guys with severe head injuries, but it is what it is, and you went and you worked and you did your job, and you got paid handsomely for it.
How have the kids changed today? How are they to deal with? You said it's a lot different. In what way are they different than they were when you came up and you played? Do these kids think they can make the NHL, or their goals to play college or just to play?
Well, I think, I ran the major junior team in Everett, Washington for a long time, from conception to about 2012. And during the 11 years I was there, the kids did change a little bit. Parents changed. Everybody wants it now. Nobody wants to put their time in. I think it's, your career is short, and parents see that and kids see that, and they want to be able to, I remember 16-year-olds coming in at the beginning of the season, and we'd sit down with them, and we had 8 16-year-olds one year in Everett. And I remember sitting down with them and saying, look, you're going to be here. It's going to be tough. There's kids that come in and they don't get a lot of ice time. Some of you will, some of you won't. But I'm just being upfront with you from the beginning. And then everything's great because they made the team. And by Christmas, they're like, how come I'm not playing enough? It's one of those. Why am I not getting enough ice time? Well, you remember the conversation we had. It's a tough league, and you got to put your time in. You got to earn your ice time. And I think most kids do. They earn it, and they want to. But there's the odd exception where they want to, they just want to be given it to them and not earn it. And I think that's the tough part you got to deal with. But I think all in all today, it's just the way society is. You don't maybe have to put as much work into to get what you want. You
were a member of the Providence Reds in 75, 76. I think John Muckler was right.
Yeah, you're breaking up there. You're breaking up.
Did I lose the whole thing?
You've broken up there, and you kind of froze. But I got an idea of you talking about Providence and Muckler and that. Yeah, John was my first pro coach actually in Providence, Rhode Island, my first year. Actually, that's the first time I ever got called up. I got sent down at the beginning of the year. I got hurt about 2.5 weeks into training camp. I took a shot on the inside of my ankle and it blew up like crazy. And I was down in the minors. I didn't play a lot the first month and a half because of my ankle, and then probably got into playing. I think I got called up. It was somewhere around early January, I think, somewhere in there. And that was the first call up I got. We were on the road, and I believe it was Richmond. And at midnight, I was told I was getting called up. And matter of fact, I got called up to the Rangers, and I had to fly from Richmond to Kansas City, where I live now. And I've spent probably the last 25 to 30 years in Kansas City. It's amazing how this little story goes, but I got called up to Kansas City, and I was waiting at the baggage claim for my bags the day of the game, and my bags didn't show up. So I took the shuttle into the city, went to the hotel, and told the coach at that time, or the trainer at that time, that my bags didn't show up. So the first game that I dressed in the National Hockey League, I was sitting on the bench because Dunk Wilson had an appendicitis attack. I was sitting on the bench with Dunk Wilson's equipment on, because my equipment had gone to San Francisco. I had no equipment. I had to wear his skates, his pads, his mask, everything, and it was the worst experience of my life. I was probably the only time I wished I'd never played in the National Hockey League, got a chance to play. It just felt so foreign. But Kansas City's been my home. I've been in Kansas City for a long time. But yes, John Muckler was my coach, and it was a great experience.
What is about Kansas City? Let's get off a little bit of hockey talk and talk about the city. What is special? What makes Kansas City so special? It's never, they've never been able to hold a hockey team. They haven't had a minor league team in a while. So what is it about Kansas City, hockey wise?
Well, first of all, they got great barbecue here. But outside of that, I think they could support an NHL team. They had one, they lost it, as did Colorado at that time. When I ran the minor pro team here, when we had the affiliation with the San Jose Sharks, we would put 10 to 15,000 people in the Kemper Arena. I just don't think it was ran properly. It was underfunded. They've got a beautiful building downtown. The city is 2.5 million now. The Chiefs survive. It's a small market. The Royals survive. It's a small market. But people here like the game of hockey. We've got over 1,000 kids playing in our organization. We need more rinks. Lamar Hunt Jr. has put a lot of time and effort into developing the youth program. Whether they get involved or not at a National Hockey League level, that's time to possibly down the road. But I really believe the National Hockey League could survive here. The corporate sponsorships are here. The season tickets are here. And that's what it takes to operate. And if you have a decent hockey club, people will come and watch the game because there are a lot of transplants here from other cities. And the local people, they like the game of hockey also. So you look at the ratings when they do the playoffs, you check the ratings in the Midwest, and Kansas City is one of the higher markets in the country when it comes to televised NHL games.
Of all the cities you've played in, what are some of your favorite cities to play goal in? Well,
New York was, my first. You get drafted by the Rangers. You're once a Ranger, always a Ranger, and I had the opportunity to play there for 7 years. There, Montreal was always great to play in, whether it was as a home team or a visiting team. Toronto was awesome, but then also going back to Edmonton and playing in the Coliseum. We had a lot of success actually when that year I was with Montreal. I think I beat them 3 times, twice in Edmonton in front of my family, and so it was good. I like those buildings. The one that I was a shocker, I think more than anything, was the Detroit, the old Olympia. I couldn't believe how small that was. As a kid growing up, you always hear about the Olympia, and you get in there and you stand in the net, and it was like standing in my office here right now. It's like I couldn't believe how tight the corners were. And it was kind of a scary place to play in the sense that it was the angles were off because the rink was so much smaller and tight. But it was an exciting place to play. But it was different, that's for sure.
How was Winnipeg? Was Winnipeg a really pressure place to play along with Montreal? Different than playing in New York, or you think it's relatively the same?
Well, obviously New York, that's a pressure cooker, and it was always enjoyable playing there, and you had to perform, that's for sure. I loved Winnipeg. I had a lot of success in Winnipeg. Played 3 years there. Played in the old Winnipeg Arena for John Ferguson, and enjoyed it a lot. My family enjoyed it. Obviously, we were a lot younger then, and we always thought maybe we'd go back to Winnipeg. I got to know the owner there right now, Mark Chipman, when he bought his team in the old IHL. He was operating in the IHL at that time. We were operating in Kansas City in the IHL, and he bought a team after the Jets left and went to Phoenix. So I got to know him, and he's treating the alumni great, and there's a lot of positives there. You always knew they would. If Winnipeg can support a team, Kansas City can support a team. So Kansas City's a bigger market, maybe not a true hockey market, but I really believe that they could support a National Hockey League team here. But the Jets are fantastic. They've done a great job, and Mark, my hat is off to him for the accomplishments that he's made in the National Hockey League.
284 NHL games, 110 wins, 104 losses, 42 ties. What do you think if you had shootouts back then? What would you think of that?
Probably would have went up. My wins would have went up. Those ties. They used to call that kissing your sister, right?
Yeah, that's what a sports director once told me when I called in to get to do a report. He said, "Yeah, it's kissing cousins." That's the first time I heard that thing, and now it's all about. They always want to have a win, that third point. You like that third point idea?
Well, you know what? It is what it is. I think it's all right. You end up going into that shootout. Somebody has to win. They want a winner. They don't. Somebody has to win. Somebody has to lose. And it just, it adds up if you're decent. And nowadays they even build teams around that. You get an extra player or two that can maybe not top end player but has success at in shootouts, and they use them, and you get 3 or 4 or 5 points out of it, make you a playoff contender. So it's I don't mind it. I enjoy it. We used to have that in the old IHL, actually. See, all this stuff we used to do in the IHL, all the marketing that the NHL does now, all this fan participation and all this stuff in the arena, we did that in the old IHL. We started all that. You remember that we used to have dashboards and that? The dashboards in the NHL were blank, white.
They were.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
We did a promotion here, 4 hot dogs, 4 Cokes, 4 popcorns, and $5 worth of gas, 4 tickets, and I think they were like $55 at that time. And the NHL would never do anything. Now everybody does stuff like that. But the minor leagues,
have to today.
Honestly, the minor leagues were the ones that were creative and did all these promotions to get people in because they're the minor leagues. Then all of a sudden, the National Hockey League kind of wakes up and goes, we got to give these people more than we got to give the fans more than just the game. They need to be entertained in between periods. So I really, honestly, the minor leagues were the ones that the NHL kind of learned off on promotions and having more fan interaction. So, we were all part of that back in the old IHL and the East Coast League teams and things like that. So it's a lot of fun to see where the game has gone and the marketing and all the promotions that go on. But I know we were the IHL was part of the development for the NHL, I guess you could say, in their corporate sponsorships and corporate support.
The goals against average is .397. Doug, thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it. Maybe we can talk again down the road. Really, really appreciate catching up with you.
You too.
Thank you.
Right, you take care. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. Really, thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
That's Doug Soedaert, former NHL goaltender, now the president and executive director of the Kansas City Youth Hockey Association. Oh, look what's here. Look what the wind blew in.
Well,
a radio show to do in a half hour?
No. Yes, actually, I do. I'm sorry.
What are you bugging me for?
Well, because you're just that important, my friend.
No, I'm not. I'm not important at all. Not at all.
I saw you have Doug Soedaert on the show.
Yeah.
Soedaert. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names, man. I'm lucky.
In this business, you can't be bad with names. I got fired because I was bad with names.
What can I say? It's a gift from God,
You cannot be. You can never be bad with names, no matter if you do talk show or if you do play-by-play. You have to name. The names have to be correct.
Well,
otherwise, if they give you a check, they say bye-bye. It happened to me twice.
Mm-hmm.
So
you need to give Errol a hockey names quiz. See how much he gets. That's a good idea. I'd probably.
Well, there was a guy. Matter of fact, Brendan Burke was doing the Peoria Rivermen in the AHL.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that does the Islanders now, and I filled in for him on a weekend, and I mispronounced one guy's name, and I got into the local paper, or maybe it was planted by Burke, but I got into the local paper, and this guy. On the Monday that I left after that weekend, I mean, I got hammered, and I still have the article somewhere. I got absolutely hammered for one name that I messed up. So
they hammered you. How many times?
Hammered me.
How many times have I seen Sam Rosen? I remember when it was Sam Rosen and John Davidson as the play-by-play and color commentator. How many times I've seen JD mess up with names? Nobody ever attacked them, but all of a sudden
I got attacked. I've been attacked twice.
Well, so. you're the type of person I would attack. Okay.
Thanks.
How are you, Ash?
I'm okay. I'm hanging in.
I see you doing. You're a big movie star. You're an extra movie star over there.
Yeah, I'm background. I did yesterday. I did Gilded Age. So.
What were you, an elf?
I did Undoing with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. Done some Law and Orders, Blue Bloods. Yeah, I've done a few.
Well, Blue Bloods, everybody's favorite show.
I've seen a couple episodes of that.
Are you a Blue Blood?
Have you seen me in them there, Speedy?
I'll have to check it out.
Last November I was in one. Last November, a year ago, I was in one.
All right.
I'll get you the title of it. You can go look.
I'll have to take a look if it's available on any of the streaming services.
You know what we need to do is get him a good mic. That's what we need to do.
You buy me one?
Actually, I was going to give you one. If you actually came out here, I was going to give you one.
I'll come out maybe next week.
All right.
The week after. I don't want to do the show next week. It's Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, obviously, it is Thanksgiving week. We'll be doing all our shows during the week, even with Thanksgiving, except on Thursday, obviously. But,
I'll do a show Thursday. I gladly do a show Thursday.
On Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm not going. Nobody invited me. I'm by myself.
What do you mean you're by yourself?
By myself, just like I said.
You'll find somebody to go to.
This will be the 5th year now that I'm not invited anywhere.
How about this? I'll invite you to my house. You want to come over for Thanksgiving? I'm being serious.
Okay, sure.
You shouldn't be lonely on Thanksgiving.
Nah, you could come over for my, you can come to my Thanksgiving party. How's that sound?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, 5 years. This would have been year number 5. I didn't go anywhere.
You can come to mine. We're gonna have a nice food and everything like that. Nice desserts. And we're gonna cook Speedy's head. How's that sound?
My head will not be here, so you're good.
Be somewhere else.
If you want to get
Mark Spector. Have we got Mark Spector yet?
Not yet. I told him to come in. He hasn't come in yet. So
Mark Spector. I know Mark. Well, I've heard of Mark. I never interviewed him, but
Mark is a writer/broadcaster with Sportsnet in Canada. He's got a book out called "Untold Story of Junior Hockey of the Canadians at the World Junior Championship." It's got a lot of good stories in it. We had Nick Kiprios on last week. I
saw that. Yep. Nick Kiprios.
His book Undrafted. Oh.
Well, look at them. He's breaking things. He's dropping things. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Ashley Sarge.
At least you don't look like you're in a cave.
What do you think about Doug Soedaert?
He's nice. Doug is a nice guy. I remember him. I remember him in the NHL. I do remember him years and years ago. So
yeah, he played from 1976 before you were born to 1986.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He played 12 years.
Mm-hmm. That's a long time. That's a good NHL career.
Played 12. Yeah, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No. How many Hall of Famers are there, Ash?
But he did partner up with Patrick Roy when Patrick Roy replaced him in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
The backup, him and Steve. Well, they had a 3-headed goalie monster that year.
Patrick Roy is not one of the nicest guys.
I can't remember the name of the coach. He only coached for one season, and I got his face, but I can't remember his name.
Speedy Petey?
No, it was Montreal coach that year. He only coached him like 1 year.
Montreal coach.
86. 87. It wasn't Burns.
Gene Perron.
No.
It wasn't Gene Perron?
No. It wasn't Jean Perron.
86, 87?
Yep.
6 to 87.
That's what's coming up on my end,
Jacques
too.
Demers was their
John
coach.
Perron.
It was John Perron.
Jacques Demers was the coach when they won Jacques Demers. But the year before that,
Serge Savard was the GM.
The manager. He was the manager.
Yeah, he was the GM. Coach was John Perron. Jean
Perron. That's it. Jean Perron was the coach.
Yeah, he was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the coach. That's the guy.
Yeah, Burns was 88, 89.
And then Jacques Demers coached them to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. And Patrick Roy became a superstar and the biggest pin in the you-know-what in NHL history.
Kissing the goalpost, as Soapy said.
Yeah, well, him and Ron Hextall. I mean, both of those guys are just out of control when they didn't get what they wanted. They would stamp their feet. And then they have guys like Felix Potvin, who was great for like 3-4 years and then completely fell off. Cujo, Curtis Joseph, who was a great goaltender, but he traveled a lot. What I mean by that, he was traded all over the place.
Well, he played in St. Louis. He played in Toronto. He played in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can remember the other stops.
He was all over the place, but he was a great goalie.
Let's see if I can remember the other stops. I got 3.
Curtis Joseph. Let's see his career. I think Curtis Joseph. I know Curtis Joseph because he had the same birthday as me. It was St. Louis, Edmonton, Toronto, Detroit, Phoenix, Calgary, and then he went back to Toronto.
Detroit, I forgot.
Yeah. So
I forgot about Phoenix and Detroit. Yeah, Edmonton, Toronto. I forgot about Phoenix and Detroit. Matter of fact, so I was asking him about Calgary. I asked him about. He was the manager of the Tucson Roadrunners in the AHL, and I wanted to. What was their player Mitchell? That they drafted and they undrafted him because he did some bullying. He did some bullying, and he never apologized to the family.
Did he bully you?
No, he didn't bully me. You try to bully me. You try.
Curtis
successful, but you try.
Curtis Joseph has Hall of Fame numbers. He has Hall of Fame numbers. If you look at his numbers, they're Hall of Fame numbers. 454 and 352. Those are Hall of Fame numbers.
I think he's a borderline.
Goals against average 2.79. I mean, save percentage 0.906. I mean, that's Hall of Fame numbers. Shutouts 51. I mean, that's Hall of Fame numbers. He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's not a sure thing first ballot Hall of Famer, but he is a Hall of Famer. How many goaltenders in NHL history has 454 wins or more?
There's a few.
Not a lot. I mean, Speedy, do me a favor. Go and look at the top 10 winningest goaltenders in NHL history.
Jacques Blount, Marty Brodeur,
Marty
Patrick
Brodeur.
Roy.
I bet you Cujo's in the top 8. I bet you he is. I wouldn't doubt it.
He is 7, 454.
He's a Hall of Famer. That's a Hall of Famer.
Dominic Hasek is in that group. Terry Sawchuk.
Actually, Hasek is not. Hasek is 14th.
No, Hasek was at the end of his career when he became a dominant player. It was really when he was like 31 is when Dominic Hasek for like 5-6 years was the best goalie in the NHL. It really was
my top 10 goalies would be Marty Brodeur, Terry Sawchuk, Jacques Blount. I would put him 11th. Hasek.
11th all time. You're talking about?
Yeah, 11th.
Interesting. A lot of people would have him higher. That's interesting.
I wouldn't. There were so many good goaltenders in NHL.
Hall. See, I saw Glenn Hall play at the end of his career, but I saw him play.
I met Glenn Hall. Long time ago. I was really young when I met Glenn Hall. I was like
still Eddie Belfour is another one.
Yeah, Grand Fior.
Yeah.
How about Grand Fior? He was great.
Grand Fior. Grand Fior when he first got drafted couldn't say 2 words together. Then at the end of his career, they couldn't keep him quiet.
Well, that was because of all the coke that he was sniffing. That's why he couldn't shut up. He couldn't shut up because of that.
So no Mark Spector yet.
Now, you want to go to break and give him a call?
Yeah, I'll give him a break and see what's up. I'll text him, see what's up.
All right, so why don't we go to break? When we come back, we will have Mark Spector here.
We hope.
Well, he hopes. We hope, in deep. I don't know. Ashley will be back here on Off the Post when we come back after this.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
I'm not beaten. We're in this game. Anybody here tired?
You're listening to Off the Post
Anybody tired?
on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
And we're back on Off the Post, are we?
Oh, we're off. We're off the post. We might beat off the turnbuckle by the time you're ready to talk.
Okay, we're back on the post. I lost the where is it? I lost the visual.
You lost the visual. You don't see me?
No, I don't see you.
Oh man, you're just lost.
I'm lost. I don't see you. I hear you, but I don't see you.
Well, that's good. Maybe you don't have to look at this ugly mug. That's
I lost you. I can't. I don't know where it is.
Speedy will get you on when he gets done with trying to get your next guest online. But what did you think about the Tampa Bay Lightning winning the Stanley Cup? I didn't get your take on it.
You didn't? Well, they were like the best team a year ago, and they wanted something to prove. They had something to prove. So they went out and they did it. They had they have the best goalie in the league in Vasilevsky. He's the best goalie in the league.
Highly overpriced. Highly overpriced in my eyes.
No, I think he's the best goalie in the league, so you got to play with the bet. You got to
he's the best. He's the best goalie in the league in the regular season, not in the playoffs.
Well, he proved it in the playoffs. They won, didn't they?
They won, but it wasn't only because of him. It was really because of their defense and the unbelievable offense that they had all season long, especially.
Well, they didn't have Stamkos.
Yeah, but Stamkos again. Stamkos.
Kucherov was outstanding.
Yeah, but
and I thought that some of the teams that would go further were just absolutely flat. They didn't want to be there. Washington was one. Carolina was another. The Rangers were another.
Oh, the Rangers! First of all, the Rangers wanted to be there. They had a lot to prove when they were there. They just.
Well, I thought they would play better, and they got swept out.
Well, they played a very good team in the Carolina Hurricanes. I mean,
Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes were in third gear.
Why do you think they were in third gear?
Because I didn't think they wanted to be there either.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm very surprised that you think that the Rangers didn't really put their 100% all into that series. I thought they did.
I didn't. Not at all.
I thought they did.
Flat, out of shape. They looked non-interested.
They have no defense.
I'm not a big fan of the coach either. The defense is very shaky.
Their defense is terrible.
Guys like Zibanejad and
Panarin, yeah,
and the Breadman would step it up a little bit, and they did not. So,
well, again,
and getting to that about the draft, that the Rangers got Lafreniere with the first pick, first time in everyday history they got the first pick. I think that was Bettman is a disciple.
So Bettman was a disciple of what? What are you talking about?
Bettman is a disciple of David Stern of the NBA.
So you're telling me that you think Bettman gave the Rangers the number one pick?
Absolutely correct. I think it was fixed. I absolutely think that.
And what do you think about this kid? Do you think this kid's going to be a star?
I think he'll be a star. I don't think he'll be a superstar.
I don't think he's a superstar. When they try to compare him to Crosby, I thought it was hilarious.
No, I think he's a step below Crosby.
I think he's a huge step below Crosby.
A huge step. I think, but he's not a game changer.
No,
he's not a franchise.
Crosby is, so that's a huge step.
Crosby is, McDavid is, but he is not.
I've said this over and over again. I think it has a lot to do with his size. I don't think he has a lot of size. Yes, it doesn't matter about size in the NHL, and he's got.
As you heard the interview with Soedaert, it's more skill today. They want to take, and they're less hitting. In his day, there was more hitting and more intimidation. That's gone out the door. I think hockey it's like football. Well, it's better than football. It's more of an intimidation. And hockey today is not an intimidation.
It depends on who you're playing. The Islanders are an intimidating team. That's why the Islanders were in the playoffs. They went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't think the Islanders are an intimidating team either.
Really? You don't think they are?
No, and I think that their goaltending is going to be a problem. Well, we'll see about Sorokin.
Oh, are you kidding me? They're getting one of the best prospect goaltenders.
Prospect, that's right. He's got to prove.
All right, and that's fine. And the Rangers prospect goaltender proved himself last year. And Sorokin, what's his name? Shesterkin. They all have the same name in my eyes. Shesterkin. I mean, and everybody thought he was 8-1, I think, for the Rangers, 8-2 for the Rangers. And they're saying Sorokin is a better prospect than Sorokin. Sorokin, whatever his name is. So, Sorokin. So, to me, the Islanders have a good goaltender, and as you can see, they're trying to trade away what's his name again? They're starting goaltender in the playoffs. So they're trying to. Who's their starting goaltender? Speedy.
The Islanders?
Yes. Who do you think I'm talking to?
Varlamov.
I mean, you of all people should be sitting here and adding your 2 cents to it.
Looks like we got him.
Somebody's got to back up. Sorkin.
All right, Ashley. Looks like we got him. Mark is in now.
How you doing, boys?
Hi, Mark.
How's it going?
You see me because I can't see you, so I hit something here. You got your book up there, Mark? Where's your book?
I got a book coming up right here.
There you go.
Sorry, boys, that I'm late. You guys put me back so many times I forgot when the hell it was.
Technical problems, it's the nature of the internet. You got your book up? Because I can't see it all through I don't know what I hit. I hit a button here.
It's coming.
Where's that book?
Thank you.
Put the book up. The Untold Story of Canada World Championships. Matter of fact,
best World Junior team ever.
Matter of fact, they are now in training camp. Is that correct? Explain that to me, that they're going to play The World Junior Tournament, they're going to have a tournament in Edmonton and Calgary after Christmas Day, correct?
Yeah, not quite. They're in Red Deer right now. They're having a training camp. That's going to last until mid-December. Then they come up to Edmonton, and the whole tournament is being held at Rogers Place inside the bubble, just like the NHL playoffs were.
Oh, so and they'll be in front of no fans, and there'll be no media in the building. It'll just be the players, coach.
There'll be some media, but there won't be any scouts.
The scouts will have to watch it on the television like the rest of us.
That's right.
How hard is that?
To scout?
Yeah. From a television. Remember the Islanders? Who tried that? Was it the Islanders tried that for a season when they wouldn't send any scouts to buildings? Remember that?
Might have been Buffalo that tried that. And yeah, listen, if everybody else gets to go and you don't, then you're at a disadvantage. But in this case, nobody gets to come, right? So everyone's going to scout it off TV, and I guess there's no one at a disadvantage.
Classic Buffalo.
So tell me about how far back do you go in the book, and what are some of the good stories? I know Wayne Gretzky played in the World Juniors in around 1978. That was a really good team. What do you think was the best junior team Canada ever put together?
Well, there's really little doubt that the best junior team ever put together by anybody was the Sidney Crosby team in 2006 in North Dakota, right? That was a team that had Shea Weber, it had Jeff Carter, it had Getzlaff, it had Perry, it had, a million guys that are on the cover. Patrice Bergeron played on that team. It was the lockout year, so nobody obviously was playing in the NHL, so every top prospect was available. That team rolled through the competition in North Dakota like no problem. Won every game, didn't lose a period of hockey the whole time through.
Talk about the early days of the World Junior. It wasn't really covered very much in the early days, was it? When did that start, and how did that all come about?
Well, you know what? The cool thing about it was, Ash, I think that people probably don't know I don't know what the States used to do in the old days, because my book's really focused on Canada and the program of excellence, and they used to send over the Memorial Cup champion. So they take a team like the Cornwall Royals, in the 70s, and they'd send them over there after they won the Memorial Cup. So they probably lost a couple players. They'd go over there. They'd play the Soviet Union back in those days. And, they weren't ready for the big ice. They weren't ready for European officials, right? It's a whole new ballgame compared to how we play. And they were getting stomped. So an old cat named Murray Costello went to the three heads of the junior leagues in Canada and said, look, I want to take your best players. I want to take them in December. I want to keep them over Christmas from across the country. I want to take them over to Europe to some tournament that, frankly, Canadians don't even care about at this point. And we're going to try to win this thing, and it's going to be good for junior hockey. And it was a hell of a selling point for him. It was a tough sell. But he did sell it. And you know what? His vision was pretty strong, because he started the program of excellence back in 82. And to this day, I'm not saying Canada's the best country, but they're certainly in for a chance at a gold medal every year.
Do you think that do you think that the U.S. is catching up to Canada in hockey?
No question, right? No question they are. They do. Everyone does it a little bit different, right, Ash? The States puts that junior team together in Michigan, and they play all year long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
the under-18 team.
Yeah, the under-20 team. They play
the
together.
under-20 team.
So let's face it. It's a facet of the numbers. Canada has a lot bigger hockey base to choose from than the U.S. does. But the U.S. takes their best, 25, 30 U20 players. They play together as a team all season long. So Canada's team comes together on about December 12th in a normal year, and the States plays 40 games. So, you know what? It's been a big equalizer. That American team now is they give Canada, as good as they get. There's not much to choose from between the two sides anymore.
Do you think I know you're Canadian biased, but do you think at some point that the U.S. could overtake Canada as far as with all the people they have in the U.S.?
I'm not. First of all, I'm not Canadian biased. I mean, it's I'm an objective journalist. It would. I guess the issue in Canada and U.S. is this, guys. In Canada, we tend to have the best athlete become a hockey player. You know, the best athlete at school, the best athlete on the street, they tend to play hockey. Not always, right? Not always. We're churning out some pretty good basketball players. We got a kid playing soccer over in the Bundesliga that's killing it over there. But generally speaking,
you got a couple good football players too.
We got some football players. But generally speaking, in the States, is the best athlete turning into a hockey player? Right? Or is the best athlete turned into a football player? Or is he turned into a basketball player? There's more choices there, and it splits the pool. There's a lot more people in the States, you know, but there's a lot less hockey people in the States. So will they catch Canada? They might catch Canada and win some gold medals and you know, win some championships. Will they ever catch Canada in the depth of talent to choose from? They still got a long ways to go, put it that way.
You approving of the Olympics, the NHL going back to the Olympics, and you're a guy that's really in the know. What's going on with let's get to the NHL now with the CBA. What's going on with that? And they want to redo the CBA. I must have read the article 3 times, and I'm still confused.
Well, let's face it. When they put together the new CBA so that they could get back and play their last playoffs, right? The playoffs that began in the end of July. You know, they envisioned that starting the 2020-21 season, that they would be able to play in front of fans. So all the economics in that CBA were based on when we get back, we'll have good old normal revenues. Well, we know now that they're going to start this season with no fans, and they may end the season with no fans. So I get how the owners are going back to the players and saying, hey, you know what, that old deal we did, it doesn't work for us if we can't sell a ticket and we can't sell a hot dog or a beer. So that's where they're at right now, actually, is they're trying to figure out, you know, the players are going to have to take a further pay cut to the one they agreed to, or the owners have the right to say, look, we're just not going to play a season.
Do you think that's a possibility?
They don't want to. Bettman wants to play. Most of the owners want to play. I get it. They want to play. They don't want to take the season off. But they don't want to pay, you know, Connor McDavid $12.5 million based on an 82-game season with fans when he's only playing a 60 or 48-game season with no fans, right? That's the economics of that don't work real well either.
Yeah, you're right. What have you heard on that front? Have you heard that? Because I've heard like about 5 different stories. I've heard 70, then I heard 56, then I've heard 70, then I've heard 48. What's your take on as far as the schedule goes? And as far, are they going to do the rumor was, I also heard, was that each individual's division was going to have their own hub, and they were going to play in the hub, but they're going to do what baseball did and have some games and play maybe 2 or 3 in one building and do it like that.
My understanding is that Elliot Friedman reported that there is a 60-game schedule on the table at the moment. So if they can settle this thing, and the PA and the NHL have to come to an agreement pretty quick here. But if they can start in early January, they can have a 60-game schedule. They'll start the playoffs mid-May, and they will be done before the Olympics begin on July 22nd. I think the last day of the Stanley Cup final is reported to be about, July 15th. So that all works if you can get a 60-game schedule in. They'll have 4 different divisions. Teams will travel around within their divisions. There will be no bubble per se, that is my understanding. But the Canadian division, no one crosses the border. Everybody stays up here in Canada. And then there's 3 divisions in the States, and they all play each other within the division. So it's going to be a weird year no matter how it shakes down.
Now, what about when you get down to 2 teams? What happens if a Canadian team finally gets to the Stanley Cup final? What are they going to do? Because
excellent question, isn't it?
What are they going to do?
I would say to you this. I would say that, first of all, by then, I think by the time we get to the Stanley Cup final, now we're talking about July of 2021, I think we're hoping that, you know, we've moved past the pandemic, or we're on the way past the pandemic, right? Maybe what's the stumbling block here is that Canada has a 14-day quarantine for anyone coming in from the States. So I think they're hoping that by that time, that 14-day quarantine doesn't exist. If it does, Ash, you know what? They're going to have to think on their feet like everybody else is doing these days.
You're absolutely right. Anyways, Mark, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. Like to have you in again, download again. The book is Hold It Up. the untold story of the Canadian juniors at the World Junior Championships. Talks about junior hockey and its history. Mark Spector, thank you.
Thanks, Ashley.
That was Mark. You guys still there? Because I can't see you. So
Yeah, I'm still there. Errol's not, but I'm still here.
so we're going to wrap up the show. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Going to take Thanksgiving off.
Yeah, you're not going to be alone for Thanksgiving this time.
Want to thank Earl Marks. I want to thank Doug Soedaert and Mark Spector for being on the show. Hope we catch you in a couple of weeks. This is Ashley Sargent for Speedy Petey saying have a good hockey day.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.